Welcome back to another myth-busting video. In today's video, we're going to be myth-busting intakes. We just installed an MST intake on Edwin's G20 BMW M340i. And does it just sound cool or does it actually add any extra power? Stay tuned. Hey, this is Bryan. Thanks for watching Kies Motorsports. If you like our videos, give us a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe and check us out at KiesMotorsports.com. That's right, today we are going to be doing some more myth busting on this G20 M340i. Now currently, this car has a catted downpipe on it from Evolution Racewerks. It has an AWE exhaust, and newly added, we have an MST intake. Now, before we added the intake, let me pull out my cheat sheet here, we had 376 horsepower to the wheels, and we had 394 foot-pound of torque. So will this intake actually increase those numbers? We're about to find out. But before we get started with that, be sure to let us know in the comments below how much power you think this car has with the new MST intake on it. Let the myth busting begin. All right, so let's get started with our first run. And just as a quick reminder before we forget, the average horsepower last time we dynoed was 376 to the wheels, and the average torque was 394. So those are the numbers to beat. So let's get started. All right, so like I said, the number to beat was 376 for horsepower. We're at 383. Now we lost 3 foot-pounds of torque, but that was only run one and we're taking an average of 3 runs. So let's do a second run and see how it works out. All right, so 379, we're still above the horsepower. Our torque is a little low, it's at 390, but we still have 1 run. So can this next run bring our numbers up? We'll find out. All right, so that run was 381 horsepower, and our torque's back up. It's 395 on that one. That's pretty good. Now, one of the things that we learned when we were being trained on the Dynapacks is sometimes the all-wheel drive cars get a little bit funny because they want to limit torque. So on our one run, if you look where we should have still been gaining power, it kind of dipped and did a little fishhook thing because it cut my power at some point. So what we're gonna do is, assuming you guys are okay with it, we're gonna do a 4th run. We just wanted to do it in full disclosure and not delete one and just redo it. We're just gonna do a 4th run, and we're gonna see if we can keep that torque at 395 or better and the horsepower at 381 or better. So 379 and 392 torque. So that says that we definitely gain horsepower. Torque, So as you just saw, we had some pretty great numbers. So after averaging it out, we had 380 horsepower, again, as the average, to the wheels on this M340i, and our torque ended up at 392. Now before this, our numbers were 376, so there was a 4 horsepower gain, and then we went from 394 torque to 392. So we lost 2 torque, but you know, as we said, we're gonna just be very open and honest throughout this entire period while we're doing all these dyno tests on all these different mods. And well, some vendors are gonna like us and some are not gonna like us. But we just wanna make sure that you guys get the full truth with everything, and we just represent everything as honestly as we can. Now, one thing that I will say, I don't think these numbers are 100% accurate. I do feel that the car had a little bit more in it. If you look at some of the dynos, let's see if I can pull this up on my phone for you. So, if you look at the dynos, I don't know if Zach's going to be able to see this or not, but what actually happened was traction control or something, the ECU might have just cut power for a second, but we cut power several times in the run. So this is the torque. You can see we lost some momentum there. And then same here, every single run you'll see at some point traction control kicked in. And again, we're in dyno mode with full traction off, but it doesn't mean that you're not gonna have traction control still kick in a little bit, especially with an all-wheel drive car. Because when you put all-wheel drive car on a dyno, sometimes it gets a little bit funny. So because every single run lost a little bit of power because of the wheels stopping to spin, I think that we definitely would have seen gains on the torque and the horsepower. So again, this is not a negative reflection on MST at all. I really wish that we were able to just power through, but I talked to Dynapack after we did the runs, and he said just, you know, especially with these newer cars, he said BMW is pretty bad, but Mercedes is even worse, where it just won't even let you dyno sometimes. So anyway, those were the numbers. I still think that it is an incredible intake, and as you probably heard, it sounds completely unreal, especially when paired with this AWE exhaust. So once again, my name is Brian. This is our Dynapack, and thanks for watching Kies Motorsports. If you liked today's video, give us a thumbs up, make sure to subscribe, and check us out at KiesMotorsports.com. And if you're interested in any of the products we ever demonstrate, or much more, be sure to see the links down in the description. Once again, my name is Brian. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video. See, what you don't see is it took us 45 minutes to put this thing on the dyno. Jeez.